The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're coming to you live from our new studios in Woodland Hills, California. So thrilled to be here with you this morning. I'm very excited. We're getting down to it, right? We're getting down to the end of the year. It's a really incredible time of the year. And I mean incredible in all the ways, right? Incredible things can happen. It can be incredibly challenging too. So for this next week, while we do shows, we're going to try to be mindful of that. And we're opening up the chat right now so that if you guys have questions about challenging things that you're dealing with, especially during the holidays, but it could be just something that you're dealing with because it's Wednesday. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm sending everybody a big warm hug. I'm so thrilled that you guys are here with us this morning. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Our website is autismnetwork.com, and there you will find all the shows that happen on Autism Network, and you have the ability to click on autism-live.com by just on the Autism Network. If you click there, it takes you to the main hub for Autism Live, which you can still get there on your own, but I always encourage people to go through Autism Network because you're going to find updates for Autism Live there. It's the mother hub, you know what I'm saying? So, and you'll find the toy guide there and hopefully many more videos of things that might be of interest to you. I love that I feel like we've kind of crested a corner. It's been a really interesting year here as we've launched Autism Network, and which we didn't even commemorate when it had been a year just a few weeks ago. But what I see is the beginnings starting to happen of you guys are starting to see that there's like different things at different times, and people are starting to tune in to Stories from the Spectrum and watch that in their own time and go, oh, this is a really cool thing. How did we not know about this? Or you're watching Ask Dr. Doreen, or you're tuning in to Autism Live and watching the interviews, or tuning into Parent to Parent, or Let's Talk All the Things, which is going to be tomorrow. I'm so excited. If you haven't watched that show with Rachel Bird, I think you're really missing it because it's Rachel Bird and I, and we sit around. Last month, we put together, she showed me how to put together vegetable platters for the holidays. And tomorrow, we are going to attempt, yes, gingerbread houses. And if you have some trepidation, join me because I also have trepidation about it, but I promise you it'll be fun. Rachel will show you how to do it. I'll show you how not to do it. And Rachel has a great tip that's going to make it possible for you to do gingerbread houses with all of your kids, of all abilities and yourself, and not, you know, I always think, I was getting ready to make the video, but there's a woman, I think she's called the Swearing Grandma or something like that. She does hilarious videos where she makes things, and there's one where she does a gingerbread house, but she drops the F-bomb every other word because it's so hard, right? And I would have made that video, but she made it ahead of me, so good on her. And she swears every 3 seconds, and she's a white-haired old lady like myself, and it's hilarious, I have to say. I thoroughly enjoyed it, made me laugh, made me wee. You know what I'm saying? But I will try not to drop any F-bombs when we're doing it. But Rachel has the secret to make it all possible so that anybody can make a gingerbread house and do it easily and have fun and get to the part what you really like, which is decorating. So I'm not going to tell you what the secret is. You have to tune in tomorrow. Okay, so that's what's happening tomorrow. But today we've got a great show for you. We've got some things about play that I want to talk about with you, but we've got two great guests that are going to be joining us to talk about an amazing contest that they have going on over at Ability Life Solutions. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But before that, let's run down some of the things. Traven has been showing you some of the places that you can be watching the show, some of the places that you can tune in to see either live or recorded, because it is a podcast and it's available wherever you get your podcasts for free. And we hope that you will participate. We try to be a free resource. Our goal here, our everyday mission, is to provide information and inspiration to that larger autism community. That includes people who are on the spectrum, of course, because they're the living, breathing heart of our community. But we also include in this conversation everyone who loves those individuals, because we think that that is a powerful consortium of people that if it became the whole world, if everyone in the world was either on the spectrum or someone who loved people on the spectrum, hey, is that not a world you want to live in? It's a world I want to live in. So we think that we can get there. And in the meantime, everybody in that community could use a little support and information and inspiration, I think. I certainly need it. I identify as a proud pony, a parent of a neurodiverse individual. I could not be more proud of my son. And I, I know that it's funny because Moira is going to be joining us next week for Let's Talk Movies, Moira Mateo. And Moira was an early inspiration to me and someone that I followed in her footsteps because she was somebody who still knows a great deal, right? I still listen to what Moira says. But Moira had said, not everybody wins the autism lottery. And that was one of I was like, oh, the autism lottery. I want to win the autism lottery. And listen, I have survivor guilt because I did win the autism lottery. My son is doing really well. And there was a time when I didn't know if that was going to happen. I always feel a responsibility, especially for those of you who have younger kids, to talk about what steps we took that led us to the place where we won the autism lottery. Because I firmly believe in that thing about the harder we worked, the luckier we got. I know that that isn't always the occasion, that some of you have worked really hard and you still didn't win the autism lottery. And but for everyone, there are days when you feel like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this. So we always try to be here for that. I always say we hold hands, we get through this together. Si se puede, right? I think there's a sound effect that we get sometimes now when I say si se puede. Did you play it? I didn't hear it. Should I say it again? Si se puede. No, I don't know. I don't hear it. It might be that you guys are hearing it and I don't hear it. But anyway, but that is the thing, because yes, we can do this, but you're going to need help and support. And I always want to be here to help and support. And I think that play is a great, great tool to use to educate. I'm a former teacher and, as I said, a proud pony. And May heard it. LOLs. Okay, so it's not. I just don't get to hear it. That's okay. Traven's been working really hard. Both Traven and I are old fans of iCarly, and he's been working really hard. I've been working on other things, but he's been working really hard on occasionally having some sound effects for you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these sound effects were provided for us. We commissioned them, paid folks over at Spectrum Laboratories to have these. I think that is, in fact, the case. So, May, thank you for writing in and telling us that you heard it, which brings up the fact that the chat is open right now. I don't know if you guys know this, but let me say this. My favorite part is when we're having conversations together. So please feel free to be writing in to the chat right now so that we can have conversations. I'd love to know where you are. I know Parker always likes to know if we're live. And Parker, we are live on Wednesday, December 14th. I can't believe it's the 14th already. And we're very excited that this Sunday, which is the 18th, is our 10th annual Sensitive Santa event. If you are in the Los Angeles area, I think we are perilously close to selling out. Which we will sell out, and you have to have a ticket. It's a free ticket, but you have to register. And this year I got smart, almost smart, I will say, almost smart. But we started asking for the age of the child beforehand so that Mrs. Claus can put together the toys ahead of time so that it just moves that much faster and smoother. So please register ahead of time. I just hate it when people show up the day of and they're like, we didn't know, and we don't have a ticket and whatever. Please don't be that person. Get a ticket while there's a ticket. And you can go to Eventbrite. My desk is sliding away from me. You go to Eventbrite. Were you here the day when the desk fell apart? That was so much fun. Hey, May, thanks. Hello from Rhode Island. Love Rhode Island. But you go to Eventbrite and you can just search in their search, go to Sensitive Santa Event 2022, and you will find us. You'll see that the hosts are Autism Live and the Ed Asner Family Center. We're very grateful for them to co-host this event for us again this year. It is a drive-through event that because we're trying to be as socially distanced and safe as we possibly can and still have all the fun that there is to have. So the most fun things about Sensitive Santa, in my estimation, are that the kids get to see Santa, right? And Santa will be there. Mrs. Claus will be there too. Mrs. Claus is my twin sister. And Bertha, I don't know what her name is, but she's my twin sister. And she will be there as well. And so they get to see Santa. They get to wave to Santa. They get a wrapped toy from Santa that's been specially picked out for them by Mrs. Claus, my twin sister. And they're good toys, you guys. Amazing. Hi, Brian. So thrilled that you're here. And then you can take a picture. If you choose to, you can exit your car. It's not for a long period of time, right? Because there's other people in line waiting. You can get out of your car and take a socially distanced photo with Santa. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you can just wave to Santa and have the kids wave to Santa. Last year, we had kids yelling out their car window and telling Santa what they wanted. It's all fair game. You know what I'm saying? As long as everybody feels safe and comfortable, it's all fair game. So that is on Sunday, but you do have to register for a ticket, and I hope that you will. But you better do it soon because the tickets are going. And if you know somebody in the Los Angeles area, especially somebody who is in need of a really good toy, please let them know and share with them how to get to the site so that they can do that. Susie, good morning. So thrilled to have you with us this morning. Okay. So, you guys, we don't have jargon today because I did not have things on the ball, but I wanted to talk a little bit about play, and I want to get questions from you guys. But what I want to do first, if it's okay with Traven, is I want to go to an interview that we taped late last night with, it's a very short interview with the fabulous Bob DeMarco and Trisha Allen. They are, Trisha, I keep saying her name wrong. It's spelled Trisha, but you pronounce it Trisha. They're incredible people. I mean, talk about being on a mission, and a mission of hope, and a mission of help and resources. Whew. They're the co-founders of an incredible organization called Ability Life Solutions. I have so much respect for these two people, and they've got a contest that's going on right now that I think you guys should participate in. I think it'd be a fun family activity to do. And I'm going to let them tell you all about it. So here, take a look at this interview, and then I'm going to be back to talk with you about play and answer any questions that you guys write into the chat right now. Here's Trisha. Trisha, why do I have a problem with that? It's spelled Trisha. It's pronounced Trisha Allen and Bob DeMarco. Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm so lucky because I'm here with two of my favorite people. We're here with Bob DeMarco and Trisha Allen from Ability Life Solutions. We've had them on the show many times, but I think this is the first time we've had you actually live in the studio, isn't it?
Yes.
In the new studio?
Yes, in the new studio.
Yes, in the new studio. So welcome to our chaos.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Well, it's kind of
it.
chaotic at the moment because you guys can't see, but every place that isn't on camera is toys, toys, toys. So we're bursting at the seams right now. But we wanted to have you guys come on today because you've got something really special that's going on that people need to know about. So who's going to tell us first what's going on?
We'll pass it over to Bob.
Okay.
Okay. We have our first holiday contest for AbilityLifeSolutions.com, and it's the craziest holiday contest.
Okay.
So we're asking you to submit a video of yourself telling your craziest holiday story.
I love this.
Yeah, it's going to be wacky. We're excited. And the winner will get a 1-year free subscription to the Ability Life Solutions community membership.
Wonderful.
And a box of awesome swag stuff and
Nice.
gift cards, all totaled about $500.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. So if you've got a story, and this is open to everyone,
yep.
Okay, because your website, if you really think about it, covers everybody on,
Right.
on
Right.
the website. So you could be a person who identifies as being on the spectrum and do this. You could be a parent of someone.
A caregiver.
You could be someone who just loves an individual. Not, I said just, it's not just. But you could be a spouse. You could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, aunt, uncle, whatever. Or you could be a practitioner, correct?
Absolutely.
Any of those categories. If you've got a crazy holiday story, what do you have to do?
Go to our website, abilitylifesolutions.com, and right on the front page, a little down the way, you'll see a form. It'll describe the contest, tell you how it all works. You hit the form, you fill it out, and you can submit a video or you can submit a video link. If you
Okay.
have it already on
All right.
Instagram or you have it on YouTube or whatever. And we just want the wackiest stuff you got.
Okay.
Whatever you got that's wacky and insane, we want it.
Any requirement in terms of time or file size or any of that, or it's all on the website?
It's all on the website,
Okay.
and we're just looking for, not a 30-minute thing, not a
Short. Keep
not
it
a mini
simple,
doc,
short, yeah.
not a mini doc. We're
No
just
mini
looking
doc.
for like quick craziness.
All right. I love that. Too very much fun. So great. So if you're thinking, I've got a great story, I want to win, tell us again the name of the site.
It's abilitylifesolutions.com.
Okay, wonderful. And the deadline is
January 7th.
January 7th. So you really got to do it. It could even be from this holiday year
Sure.
because you've
No,
got
no.
enough time
What?
to do that.
Yeah, whatever. And if
Okay.
you have video of the actual story,
That much better.
that's a bonus.
Okay, that's
a bonus,
really,
'cause
that'll put
we're
you
looking,
ahead of the class.
We're looking for turkeys flying. We're looking for stuff falling
Anything
over.
super wacky.
Right.
Cats jumping into trees.
Oh.
Anything.
I
Anything.
love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Okay, so you guys definitely want to do that. But since I have you here,
Mm-hmm.
let's take just a second to talk about what abilitylifesolutions.com is, because people should be going there and checking it out.
Sure. We started it as it's a free resource website. So you go on there and we have a video library that's all linked to pre-existing videos. Lots of yours.
Lots.
That's
of
right,
yours.
lots of
And we
yours.
enjoy that.
You are the gold standard in which we select all our
hilarious.
videos for.
That's
So,
hilarious.
and then we also have resource links. We are up to over 6,000 resource links worldwide,
Around the world.
because the goal is to be international and help
Yeah.
everybody everywhere. And so that was the foundation of this. And now we are getting ready to launch memberships, and we've kind of divided the site into 3 different demographics. There's parent caregivers, teens and young adults, and then adults. And if you go on the site, you can choose your demographic, and then all of the emails and everything that you get will be tailored to your demographic. So
Lovely.
you're not getting tons of stuff that doesn't relate to you.
Right.
And you're not having to sort through a bunch of stuff that's non-relatable.
I so appreciate that. I have so many friends who are adults on the spectrum, excuse me, and they talk about how frustrating it is sometimes that as an adult, maybe they just got their diagnosis and they come and go, hey, I'm looking for some resources and stuff, and it's all geared towards the parent.
Yeah.
And talks about, well, when your child does this, and they go, but I'm the person. Do you
Right.
have
Right.
anything that's for me? So I love that you've already taken that into consideration, and you don't have to be mired in all the stuff that's for the other people.
Right. In the way our video library is set up, it's all in categories. And there's, getting a first diagnosis, if you're a parent, and then getting a first adult diagnosis, getting an adult diagnosis. So you can cut right to the chase on stuff, and you'll find your stuff on there, and it's all categorized out.
Love, love, love.
Yeah.
So that's the free resource that everybody can go there right now. It's available
Yep.
to all of you right now. So go to abilitylifesolutions.com. But then you are going to be launching a membership in January, and that's going to give you privileges that aren't part of the free resource website.
Right. We're going to
Right.
have additional blogging, and most of our stuff is geared towards video. So when we put out a blog, we also put in a company video of it. So if you just want to watch the video and get the short form
Options.
Yeah.
Options.
Yes.
and so we're going to have 3 different memberships: the parent, caregiver, the teen, young adult, and the adult.
Okay.
And so each one will have closed Facebook groups,
Love it.
right? and then monthly blogs. And we're working with people on the spectrum writing blogs as well. So
Love that.
we have a lot of people on the spectrum. We have young adults that are writing and doing dating tips and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then there's going to be weekly questions and answers where we'll take in questions from the members, and we'll kind of go through answers. And
Super cool.
and then we're also going to be doing a monthly live Zoom kind of like support group meetings.
Okay, cool.
And that'll be tailored to just your demographic. So there are 3 mirrored sites.
Yeah,
Mirrored
amazing.
memberships.
Amazing, and I know, you guys long-term have really, tell me if I'm in the wrong neighborhood, but it seems like you guys are trying really hard to be a one-stop shop, that if people are looking for information, that
Right.
you're a hub, that they start with you, and then they're gonna find all these other things that will take them to other places, but a place to go, because there's never really been that.
Right.
A place where you could go and say, hey, I'm looking for information about this, and be able to find it in the place where you ask the question.
Right.
And when my son was diagnosed back in 2006, I mean, there was not a lot.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. And even as time has gone, everything is very fragmented.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get a cohesive idea of your path.
Yeah.
So ultimately, down the road, I mean, next year we're going to be opening our first Ability Life House.
Love it.
And it's going to be like a group home on steroids.
I love that.
A transition.
And it's going to be basically transitional. So
Yeah.
you'll have a group of people you're living with, but you're working towards being completely independent.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
kind
that
of
in-between stage,
Right.
yeah.
of
so
leaving
leaving the
mom,
house, living.
Yeah.
leaving mom and dad, getting to a situation where you have a lot of supports and a nice environment, and you're kind of being led to complete independence.
Do you already have the waiting list for that? Because people are
No.
going to ask me. Okay.
This
Well,
is-
soon
we're
you're
at the
gonna have
very
to
beginning
start the
stages.
waiting
Yes, we
list.
just
I
started
know.
scratching at that, so it's
Yeah.
new
Yeah,
and
our
fresh.
first goal is we're going to do a male house and a female house,
Okay.
and we're going to launch them both at the same time.
Okay. Well, I can think of somebody who's going to want to be on your list.
And you can
so-
have an adjacent room.
There you go. No, I wasn't actually
Be around
wasn't
the
talking
corner.
about
Right, you
me.
can be
I was
around the
talking about somebody else.
Okay.
But no, I'm not ready for that yet. But yes, I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's remarkable, and the work that you guys are doing is just really. I just want to thank you because you guys have seen a need, and and I didn't realize that your diagnosis came in 2006. Ours was too.
Ah,
Fist
there you go.
bump. We're
Yeah,
2006ers.
it was not an amazing time for resources out there.
No.
No.
It was Jenny McCarthy talking about vaccines, and
Yeah, and
That's
very
it.
little else.
that's it.
And I remember the day that my son was diagnosed, the woman who diagnosed said to me, she said, this is the first day of my retirement. I've been working in this field for 50 years. And she said, just be heartened by the fact that if this was the first day of my practice, I would have told you to take your child, have him committed to a home, and drive away and forget that you ever had a child.
Oh,
And I like,
Yeah.
whoo, I was
Yeah.
like, how dare you say that to me? I said, this child? And she said, yeah, that was the first day of my practice. But now it's the first day of my retirement, and I'm going to tell you, take him home and enjoy him.
Right.
And that's the sum total of the advice that she gave me on that day. Take him
Rough.
home and enjoy him. And I had bite marks. So, and I didn't have abilitylifesolutions.com to go to and go, where do I go next, guys?
Right.
Like, what's my next stop on this journey? Like you in 2006, we had to find it.
Yeah, it
And
was-
thank goodness there were pioneers before us that I eventually keyed into some of them. I hope you did too, who said, okay, well, you could start here.
Right.
And here's what I did. And I've always been so grateful to them. But I love that you're now creating a place where everybody will be able to help other people and say, here's what we did, and people can pick and choose and make informed decisions.
and have
Yeah.
the supports and everything
Yes.
else, and self-determination and person-centered and everything that
Yeah.
goes with that to get those supports that nobody got back
we
then.
just want to try, and our ultimate goal is to create this new paradigm in healthcare for the autism community, that it's going to be like, a huge
Yeah.
international thing where every country will have our homes, will have the resources, all of that.
God bless you.
We're trying.
I hope you're eating well,
We're
because we
trying.
want you to live forever and to see this all come to fruition, because I
Yeah.
think it's a beautiful, beautiful mission that you guys are on.
Thanks. We're
So.
committed to it for sure.
And
Love
we're
it.
traveling with them too, so.
Yeah, we've got our
Yes.
travel club, so that's another part.
Yes.
And we're going to be expanding that next year to include
Yes.
families. So the families can get respite, so the parents can go, they'll have support in, kind of babysitting. And they
Yes.
can go off and be mom and dad by
Amazing.
themselves, and can be a whole family trip. So that's
There you
coming
go,
up
you
next.
guys.
next
Absolutely
year.
love that. AbilityLifeSolutions.com. Go there, check it out, be a part of it. And, you're going to want your free membership for all of next
year.
year. So you
Yep.
might as well get on your crazy holiday video story.
Do it.
And get that submitted.
Do
So
it. Crazier the better.
I'm
No
gonna have to pick and
nudity,
choose.
please. But
And can you do,
Keep it
yes,
clean.
no
no
nudity.
nudity.
Can you do multiple submissions?
Do it.
Okay.
We don't
all right.
care. Do
There
it.
it is, you guys.
Do 100. Give us
I
the
love this
craziest.
picture that you guys have. So the contest ends January 7th.
Yep.
But amazing. What a great idea, you guys, to get us all into the holiday craziness
Fun stuff.
thing. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
we love
Shannon.
you.
We
We
love
love
you
We
more.
love
Are you kidding
more.
me?
We love you the most. Infinite.
No.
Infinity.
And beyond.
And beyond, to the sun, the moon, and the stars and back, right? So, all right, we're going to pause here, and then we're going to come back with more Autism Live after these messages. Stick with us. Welcome back. Traven and I have been so deep in conversation that I didn't even know we were coming back. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you send your funny holiday story. I told them my funny holiday story after we finished that interview, and they said, "Oh, Shannon, you have to send that in." And I was like, "I don't know. I don't think it's very appropriate." And I want one of you guys to win, so I don't want to win. Even though the prize is great, I want one of you guys to win. So do take a minute to do your funny holiday story and send it to them. And also take a minute to go and check out their website. They're another hub that you can go to find our videos. They cherry pick videos that they think are that we've done that they like. So go to AbilityLifeSolutions.com and check out all the free resources. And then there are paid resources that you can do there and that they're adding on to, which I have so much respect for. So thrilled. But now we get to talk about play, which is my favorite thing in the world. And I had the opportunity yesterday to play with a friend that I had never played with before, someone that was a younger person on the spectrum. And it's always interesting to me because it's funny, we were talking with Dr. Grampuchet yesterday about how sometimes you just don't feel proficient and you feel like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to play. And I never voiced it out loud, but in my heart of hearts, the thing that I thought was, I don't know how to play with my own child. And I'm somebody who loves to play with other people's children, but I thought, oh, I don't know how to play with my own child. And I want to say that sometimes it's easier to go play with somebody else's child than to play with your child, and then to watch somebody play with your child and go, oh, I can borrow this, that, and the other. But it's always interesting when you meet a new person and you want to figure out how to play. And for me, the reason why this year in the toy guide we constantly were using the word connection is that it's important to make a connection with the individual. And here's the thing that's really interesting is that you can't presuppose. Now, for me, before I was a mom, I was an aunt, and I was just a funny person who's been a clown before, a paid clown before. So, I understand the interaction piece, and I felt confident about that. I'm the person, whenever we're in a grocery store, I don't like to be bored. Can I be honest about that? I really can't bear to be bored. And my son can't bear to be bored either. And I taught him early on, like when we would be in line at the grocery store, he would start to degrade because he was bored and he was looking for some sort of like thing to focus on or a thing to do or whatever. And eventually when he was old enough, when he was young enough, it was a really hard time for me. And we'll talk about that in a second, how we got through that. But when he was older, I taught him my trick for when I'm bored and standing in line is that either I play a game in my head or I find a child and see if I can connect with the child. Now, I understand that in this world, it's like, but I don't approach the child. I just, see if, and my go-to, my bag of tricks is that I make fish lips at the child. So I will just go at a child and then make that noise when it goes. And a lot of times, boy, now you got a connection because they're like, what did you just do? I maybe haven't seen that before, or it's not something I've ever seen in a grocery store before. And so I will make that face at them and then kind of, look away. And then I will look back at them and they'll be looking at me like, is she going to do it again? And then I do it again. It's kind of funky looking, right? And I make that noise when I'm done. And then, boy, I've really got their attention. And then sometimes I will go into a peekaboo kind of thing where I'll just, cover my face a little bit, and then I'll go, oh, and make a big face and get their attention that way. And my son and I like to see how long it takes before I can make the child laugh. And that gives my son something to do, to see the interaction and watch, and then sometimes he does it, and so on and so forth. Now, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes I have to switch to other things, but my point is I always had a bag of tricks, a go-to that I would do in the grocery store to be able to make a connection with a kiddo. And when somebody hands me a baby, I pretty much start there too and go there and see if I can make a connection with the baby. But that didn't work with my son, because sometimes that doesn't work with our kiddos on the spectrum. Sometimes they have it's not dysgraphia, I can't think what the name of it is, but dysmorphia maybe, that sometimes they don't see faces the way we see faces, and their eyes orient to different things. So doing fish lips means nothing to them, right? And doing peekaboo can be scary to a kid on the spectrum if they don't understand object permanence, because it's like, where did you go? And now you're suddenly back, and that can be scary. So it's that thing of not deciding ahead of time, I know what will work. And I had relied on that for years and was like, oh, I know I can get any baby's attention. I can make any baby laugh. I should be a baby photographer because I can get a laugh out of them in under 30 seconds because I have my bag of tricks. And then it didn't work on my own son. And that was, devastating and demoralizing, because then it was like, well, I don't know what to do then. If my bag of tricks doesn't work, then I don't know what to do. And actually, I watched my husband, who had been so fearful of having a child, because he was like, I'm too old to have a child at a certain point. And then he was like, yeah, I'm all on board. But he played with my son, and they found new games together that they would play together. And there was such connection between them. And I was always jealous of how they could play together. I was always left out of that. But I, excuse me, I didn't give up. And that's what I want to say to all you guys. Don't give up. There is a way to connect with your child. It just might look different than what you expected. And one of the things I learned from watching my husband interact with my son, my husband would do this thing, and I don't know how they started it. I don't know what the genesis of it was, but my husband would sit on the floor and, sit crisscross applesauce on the floor, and he would hold up a newspaper, and he would make a big deal going, I'm reading a newspaper. And my son, who loved physical crashing into things, would run up, crash through the paper, and crash into his father. And my husband would make huge, big, oh, what happened? And fall back. And then they would laugh and laugh and laugh. And then my husband would pick him up and put him back on the floor. And he would go, all right, I'm going to go back to reading my paper. They would do this for hours. But it was how they connected. And after a while, I would get irritated with it, because I was like, I'm not sure that that's healthy. You know what? It was connection. And eventually somebody said to me, don't monkey with that. It's connection. Now, that was when he was 2 and 3. They couldn't keep doing it when he was 5 because he was too big. So connection can be something, but then it has to morph and grow into other things eventually, right? We were talking yesterday about what do you do when, it has to be age appropriate. But I love that Dr. Grampiche said it has to be reinforcing. Let's not forget that. But we do need to be, when something is reinforcing, we need to stretch it and do things. Now, I don't know if Johanny is watching today, and we're going to talk about this with Dr. Grampiche next Tuesday, but, sometimes our kids are only interested in one thing or two things. And a lot of you will say to me, I don't know how to stretch that into other things. And basically, it's so much simpler than our heads will let us believe. Because there was the mom that I remember in India who her son was only interested in The Lion King. He wanted to watch the Lion King movie, and that was it. Lion King movie, that's it. Nothing else was reinforcing to him. And the therapists were saying to her, okay, that's great, because there's so many things in the Lion King movie that you can, first of all, there's a sequel, and there's a second sequel. Like, if you've never watched Lion King 1.5, I like it better than The Lion King. It's hilarious, right? And it centers on the same story, but told from the point of view of Pumbaa and the meerkat. Hilarious. And it intersects with the original. So we turned her on to that movie. Well, now he's interested in Pumbaa, and now he's got a Pumbaa character, and he's got a Nala character, and now we can have them interact together, right? And then he's got a Lion King book, and then he's got a Lion King toy that you squeeze its paws, and it talks to you, right? And then we get a book about real lions, and we get a book about the real Serengeti. And, we start looking at like different things like, oh, what kind of tree is that? Is that in the Lion King, right? And then you can branch out from there and see what else they're interested from there, right? So you're just trying to stretch it. If what they like is a 3D character, right, then they probably will like a picture of it too. And then we can find similar characters. Like if they like a bobblehead, then they probably like Funko Pops, right? And then we can go from one Funko Pop to another Funko Pop, right? So that's how you stretch out reinforcers. The other thing that you can do about reinforcers is you can, what they call pairing. So if you know that they love Lion King, right? That every time we do Lion King, we pair it with something else and make it really, really fun. Like, I love how therapists do this all the time. That we'll be watching Lion King and they'll utilize Lion King to learn all kinds of things. Like, there's Timon and Nala, how many people are there? There are 1, 2, there's 2 of them, right? But then there's pairing, which is that you take something, for instance, if every time you watch Lion King, you have popcorn, eventually, it becomes that popcorn is really reinforcing too, even when you're not watching Lion King. So you can do that with all kinds of things. That the BCBA that I love that said with her own kids, she wanted her kids to be excited to do their homework. Well, that's a cute trick, right? But she firmly believed that if she took something really reinforcing and paired it with homework time and only gave it during homework time, that eventually they would look forward to homework time. And she picked Kool-Aid because she's a mom who doesn't believe in Kool-Aid. So her kids never have Kool-Aid. They drink water the rest of the time. They don't have soda. They don't have sugary drinks. The only time they can have a sugary drink and they have Kool-Aid is when it's time to do homework. As soon as you get home from school, you take off your shoes, you put your backpack, on the dining room table, and you get out your books. And the minute you're started on your homework, the Kool-Aid pitcher comes on the table. And as long as you are sitting there doing homework, the Kool-Aid pitcher is full, and you can drink as much Kool-Aid as you want. And her kids rush home to do homework. Kind of amazing. Pairing. So, and I think, her kids are older now. I'd love to ask her. I would be willing to bet that her kids don't have Kool-Aid anymore with homework, but that they're the kinds of kids who just come home and are like so excited to get their homework done so they can go on to other things and look forward to coming home and doing the homework because they get it done, right? May says, how did you get used to having your son in school? There are days where I just want her to be homeschooled. She cries when I bring her. I feel so bad sometimes. Okay, so there's a couple of different pockets there of things, May. First of all, your question is, how did I get used to him being in school? It was hard. It was hard, and it was quite a transition. And we started small. So when he first went to school, he went to a Fun for Fours program, and it was only 3 days a week, and it was in the morning. And they really wanted him 5 days a week. And I was like, no, he has other therapies. But the truth is, I also wanted to have that connection with him. And I had no connection when he was at school. I also volunteered at the school. So sometimes he was there 3 days a week, but I was there 1 day a week, right? So that was only 2 days a week. And then I started to discover that I could actually get some things done during that time period. And it helped that he was having fun and that I had evidence that he was having fun. So I will say to you, be kind to yourself. And we used to joke that when he was going to go to kindergarten and he was only going half day for kindergarten, which we know, like if we look at the studies, it shows that kids do better if they go to full day kindergarten than half day kindergarten. I would say to you that if your kiddo is in ABA therapy, half-day kindergarten is more than enough, and sometimes it's too much because they're getting all of that. What they're trying to say is that more hours of educational enrichment for a child at that age is better, and we were already doing that with ABA. So I was fine with doing a half-day kindergarten, but I used to say to my husband, I'm going to be parked across the street the whole time with binoculars. And for kindergarten, sometimes I volunteered 2 days a week, right? That I would come in and be the teacher's helper anytime there was an opportunity. And sometimes it would just be that I was on campus and I would go do Xeroxing for the teacher, but I would be there, right? So that I could have eyes on. Can we just admit that I'm a bit of a control freak? And that I don't really, when people say, well, you're really a control freak, and I go, yes, and your comment, yes, and what, So there's that. That's how I dealt with my emotions around that, and it was hard. I'm not going to candy coat it. It was really, really hard. But it also helped, and the reason why I gradually got over it and got more involved in things that I was doing at home so that I didn't end up being all the time there at school. I volunteered all the way up through the last day of high school, okay? And if they would let me volunteer at college, I would. But I wasn't there all the time, right? Still had a beat on what was happening because I think that that's super important. But it was easy for me to go do my own thing because I knew he was having a good time. So that becomes critical. And if your child is crying every day that you bring her, I think you got to look at that. And look, there's a whole lot of things that we can look at. But if she's crying, it's for a reason. Now, it could be because she's missing you. And just like you're missing her. And those are normal kinds of things. One of the things that people do when kids are missing them for that kind of thing is that you give her something special to put in her pocket or that you pin to her shirt. I know one family that they pinned a mommy hanky to the little girl's blouse so that she could sit there, and it was a silky hanky, and she could feel the hanky, and whenever she was missing mom, that was something that she was allowed to do. Other kids, it's like a little, thing that you put in the pocket, and if they're missing mommy, then they can hold on to the thing, and they don't have to miss you. They can. It's like something to hold on to, right? So there's that kind of a thing. And our kids pick up on how we feel. And if you're stressed when you drop her off, she might be feeling that anxiety too. So you want to be really careful about what you're putting out there. But beyond that, there may be something that's happening at school that is very distressing to her. And I'm not even talking about nefarious stuff that we really need to be concerned about, right? Sometimes it's something small. Sometimes it's that one kid is being mean and doesn't even know that they're being mean. Sometimes it's that there's a bully. Sometimes it's like a fear of the bathroom or a fear of not being able to go to the bathroom. Oh my goodness, right? There's so many different things that it could be. But I wouldn't just expect her to grow out of it. And I don't know what her ability is to communicate to you with what's happening, but I will tell you as a parent, it's vital that you figure it out. And that might mean, first of all, check your gut and see what your gut says. And the first question that I would ask your gut is, do you feel like your child is safe at school? And do you feel like your child is being well cared for at school? If there's any part of you that goes, I'm not sure, it is incumbent upon you to find out for sure. Now, I have to give the legal disclaimer here that many parents make a choice when they're not sure if their child is safe, and they've done this in the past. We've had parents covered stories where they take a little recorder and they stick it into their kiddo's backpack, so they just get a recording of what's happening. I need to be abundantly clear that that is not legal, and that you run the risk of getting into a whole lot of trouble should you do that. I will tell you that many parents have done that, and I'm not aware of anybody going to jail or being fined over it, because if nothing bad is happening, they don't come forward and say, I have a tape. But if something bad is happening, whatever the bad that is happening in the past has outweighed the breaking the law of the parent who did the recording. I am not advocating that you do that because I can't legally advocate that you do it, but I can say to you that parents have a responsibility to make sure that their kids are safe. Enough said about that, right? But I also think that it's worthwhile to have a conversation if you feel comfortable with the teacher or with the aide or the principal or whatever. And if you need to, send someone else to have eyes on the classroom. I used to do that. I used to come in and volunteer, so I would have eyes on the situation, but then I would send other people in. I would ask other parents, what did you see when you were there volunteering? And when I was volunteering, I would tell other parents, hey, I just want to let you know, here's something that I saw. Wasn't always welcome, but, I feel like we have a responsibility to do that. But also, if you're working with anybody like an ABA provider, I used to have my ABA provider, I would say, I don't know what's going on. Can we come up with an excuse why? And listen, the school's probably watching this and going, oh, okay. But I would find an excuse for why they needed to go into the classroom to sort of have eyes on what's going on. But if your child is crying, that's a perfect excuse. Your child is in distress about something that's happening, and it could be something infinitely fixable. But if you send in a professional, they're going to see things that nobody else would see. Like they might see that there is a fluorescent light above her, that the timer needs to be changed, and that it's flickering, and that could be sensory making her cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? So we don't, now, also, there is the realm of things, we've seen this happen before. There's people, we can't assume that everybody is on the up and up at school. We've seen bad things happen. We've seen, somebody was telling me about bad things that were just in the news yesterday, from kids who were special needs getting bad treatment from an aide or someone affiliated with the school, whether it's a person in the lunch line or whatever. But you need to make sure it's not outside the possibility, but it isn't always the thing. I don't want to freak you out. But don't let it just go and go, oh, she'll get over it, I'll get over it. No, don't get over it. Look into it and see what's happening. And then in the meantime, too, if you feel like your child is not safe at school, you don't send them. You need to notify the school that you feel that the child isn't safe and that you are, giving them 10 days notice that you're going to be pulling them out of school. And then, your child comes down with a cold and your child doesn't go those 10 days. But you have to notify them if you're going to take them out to homeschool them. And many people have homeschooled their children, and for many children, it has been the perfect thing. I will tell you that I thought I was going to be one of those parents because I'm a former teacher. I was like, I can teach my kid. But you know what? I couldn't. That wasn't what was best for my child. My child needed and craved the social interaction. And there's something about me, he doesn't want to learn it from me. Anything, still. To this day, I'm his mom, and he likes for me to be in that role, not be his teacher. He gets mad if I try to teach him anything. He needed to go to school. But that isn't true of all kids. And some kids do better when they're homeschooled. We're going to have Rachel Bird on tomorrow. She'll tell you Kobe was bullied at school and she pulled him out. She didn't have a choice. He was beaten up at school and she pulled him out and she was like, we're not doing that. And he was homeschooled and he is the most lovely, intelligent, well-read, oh my gosh, brilliant young man. But she found the right homeschool program and they were able to do that. But don't let the crying go. How old is she? 2. I want to know that. And if she doesn't, listen, if your child is young and doesn't have the ability to tell you what's going on and they're crying every day, don't feel bad if you pull them out. Don't feel bad. Brian says, my son has kindergarten until 2 p.m. and after school for the afternoon. However, the Montessori school is failing him and he's super bored. Don't let your child be bored. Point, homeschool teaching is a torch we must do, but we are just starting to explore online teaching stuff. School seems to be squashing him at the academic learning level, but improving him at a social level. It is a stressor, especially when I need a life and time for a job. already outschool possible, and I seek input on how to do this and help him at this critical 5-year age. I will tell you, and somebody pointed this out to me later, that if it's just the social thing that your child needs, there's many other things besides school that are social. Many, many, many other things. And of course, we encourage you to find like a children's theater or something like that, or a community theater. And that's often a very good place to have a social experience for your kiddos. And where we lived at the time, they had such a huge homeschool program in our community that there was a theater program for the homeschooled children that they would participate in every year. So there's all kinds of things like that. There's like swim classes and teams and gymboree and stuff there's all these other opportunities for social if it's just that. But again, my son didn't want to learn from me, so that was super hard. Something that I would encourage you to do, Brian, if you really like the Montessori school, but you just feel like you're not getting there enough academically, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but khanacademy.com. I think it's .com. It's KHAN, trybothoregon.com. It's free. And you don't have to, it's not something you have to do through your school district. It's something you can do on the side. And you can have your child, it's open. It's from, I think, pre-kindergarten up through graduate level courses on all kinds of things. Art history, computer science, computer programming for animation. Every math class, every math fact that you need to know from pre-K up through, trigonometry, there's classes all there. And what it is modules that are video modules. They're usually about 1 to 3 minutes long, and they so it's experiential. They watch the video, and then they're asked to do something to demonstrate that they can do what they just saw in the video. And it's modular. So it's like, first we're going to teach you this, and then we're going to teach it, but it's very visual and interactive and hands-on, and I'm going to show it to you, and then you're going to do it right now, 3 minutes later. And if they don't get it right, then it says, okay, now watch this video because you didn't get this concept. It doesn't say that to them, but it says, here, watch this video. This will help you. And then it gives them opportunities to take that skill and do it and show it to the community or whatever. There can be community interaction. It's really wonderful. And as a parent, you can sign your child up and then sign up yourself so that you can get a daily report on what did they do, where did they get hung up, and kind of follow along. Now, they won't get a graduate diploma from doing Khan Academy, but it is the answer to my child is bored. Now, and my child isn't getting academically what they need because, and who turned me on to it was Temple Grandin, because the first time I met her, she immediately was asking me, she was like, tell me about your child. And I said, well, it's so funny. He's really struggling in math, and yet he's brilliant at math. And she was like, oh yeah, no, that's total autism. And she wanted to know what kind of a thinker he was. And she said to me, do Khan Academy, because the baby math BS, basically, is what she said. The baby math BS is the bane of the existence of a child on the spectrum, because they will drill the baby math, and they'll say, and you have to show your work, and it's like blah, 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 right? And it's so boring that it just beats the desire to do math and science out of them. And she says, we can't have that. You got to give them, go through, pick things for them, but then see what they're really interested in, then let them pick. And she said, give him something. So that is exactly what we did. We gave my son the ability, and we decided to do the computer programming animation, how to code animation. And I was taking the class alongside him. He left me in the dust. I never finished the class. He finished the class and went on to other things. And the next grade that he went to, they went to talk about the next math concept. And the teacher said, does anybody know what this is? And my kid was like, yeah, that's this. And the teacher was like, really? How do you know about that? And he's like, I use that for computer animation. And suddenly everybody was like, what? And that was it for him. He just excelled and did honors math all through high school as a result of that. So don't let him be bored. I know at kindergarten it's really hard. I would have a conversation with him at Montessori and say, if you like the school, if you like the school and you feel your child is safe and you like the social interaction, I would go in and say to them, I know that Montessori, it's all self-directed, but he does not yet have that skill. So, can we put in 5 prompts for him that if he doesn't have anything else to do, he can choose between these 5 things. And maybe, oh my gosh, what is the name of the toy, Traven? It's going to drive me crazy. There's an amazing toy that was in our toy guide. I don't think it was in last year, but the 2 years before we featured it, that it is a toy that teaches you programming. And it's the kind of thing that's a boredom buster. It's something like a Tarek or something like that. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about, Traven? Yes, okay, good, Brian. I'm glad that we talked about the Khan Academy. But you can say to them, at Montessori, they should be open to this. You could say to them, he's bored, and we need something that ups the game a little bit, but he needs a little direction, and just give it to them. Give them 5 activities that he can be doing that you'd like, and it could be Khan Academy. Excuse me, that he could be doing Khan Academy right there in the classroom, or if he likes to draw, I love the Osmo stuff. Truly, there's some amazing stuff that he can be doing on Osmo. And what I love about Osmo is, and there's 2 of them in our guide this year. We almost always have at least a couple of Osmo toys. But if he has an iPad or some sort of a tablet, they have bases to fit different things. So it's a base, and you put the iPad standing up into the base like this. And there's a little thing that goes on top of the iPad that's a projector that connects to the iPad, and it projects onto the space in front of the iPad an activity. And then there are all these different games that you can get on their website, and it comes with manipulatives that you can buy, that you can learn reading and math and accelerated stuff, but it's interactive. It doesn't allow you to get bored. So ask them, Brian, if they'll let you bring in some stuff like that, that if, and they should be tuning into, here are the tells that he's about to be bored. And when he's bored, we can get out this board that has these 5 things and let him choose of the 5 things. And maybe that's too much for him. Maybe he needs to choose between 3 things or 2 things. I don't know. But let him choose, is my point, between those things, and you can have those things be educational to build. And they should be okay with that at the Montessori school. They should be all about that. If they're not, I think that's a problem. But Montessori, as I understand it, the whole premise of Montessori is that it's kid-directed, right? But they should understand the concept that he doesn't have enough things in his bucket yet to know, well, what I really want to do is this. Very common for our kids on the spectrum. And May, you said she's 6, so very likely you're forced to send her to school of some kind. Because if she was 5, I was going to say, you really could keep her home another year and build skills so that she's ready to be on her own at 6. But at 6, you kind of, the state machine doesn't recognize that and says, and she's nonverbal. Okay. Well, are you, May, I don't remember, are you getting good ABA? Do you have some good ABA services? Because if she's 6 and nonverbal, you could make, and if you have ABA already set up, you could make the case to school and say, we're choosing to do ABA at home this year, and it's for a medical reason, that she's, she needs this more than she needs to come to school and socialize. Because it's really hard if you don't have the ability to say, I don't want to do that, or I don't like that, or that person is hurting me, or I don't want to stand in line, or I'm cold, or I'm hot. There's so much that will happen in a day that you're not in control of, and I don't think anybody wants to sign up for that, right? Does she have functional communication at this point, May, that she, has a device or something that or cards that she can point to that, say need a break or need to go to the bathroom or I need a drink? Some very basic things. Tell me if she has that, because if she doesn't, I would prioritize that above everything. And I would, if you're working with an ABA provider, I would ask them if they are prepared to homeschool your child for a year. If they have a program, some ABA providers do. But the functional communication, it would be, imagine if somebody took you right now and I don't know, but let's say you don't speak Swahili. And maybe you do, but I don't. But let's say you don't, and that I stuck you right now in a college level Swahili class with everyone who already speaks Swahili. How much would you enjoy it? How stressful would it be for you? How detrimental would it be to your self-esteem, and how frustrating would it be, right? I think we would go ding, 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 ding. It's frustrating. It's not good for your self-esteem. And when we take a kiddo who doesn't have functional communication and put them in a social circumstance where people are moving and doing and being, and it's like you got to kind of have to go with the flow because that's school, right? It's really kind of trauma-inducing. And I would cry. I would put my head down and cry. I mean, I have been in circumstances where I was at a conference and I spoke the language that people were speaking, but there was a problem with the mic, and I really wanted to hear what was going on, but I couldn't hear what was going on. And then the people around me started complaining about, I can't hear what's going on, and then I really couldn't hear what was going on. And I just was like, I can't be here. I can't be here. And I got up and walked out because it's too stressful for me. Imagine what it's like for our kiddos. So you got to start somewhere. So I would start with functional communication. I would start with trying to figure out what is the most stressful thing for her during the day. And maybe you do need to homeschool her until you have functional communication. If that's what your gut is telling you, May, I would honor that. Dr. Granpeesheh always says that it's really important that we don't stick them in the social circumstances until they're ready for it. Because you know why? Then they're like, oh, I'm not good at this. And then you have to overcome that before you can get them to the point where they can really fly. All right, well, we're out of time, and yet I'm so sad that we're out of time because I'm enjoying conversing with you guys. I said that's what I enjoy the most. But here's what I want to say to you more than anything else. If your child, because we were talking about play, it's kind of like school. If your child is not enjoying play right now, then it's not the right kind of play. Your child needs play because play is a way to decompress and stress. It's also a safe way to learn something. So if your child isn't liking the way you're playing, don't be afraid to say that's not the thing. For me, with my son, I had to let go of the fish lips. That was not how I was going to connect with him. Later, I connected with him by doing fish lips to a third-party child, right? And we connect over that. Yippee, right? That's all I need is to connect with my son. I did not need to connect with my son over fish lips. So you need to meet the child where they are. Don't be afraid to get lower than your child. If your child is sitting someplace and you're hovering over them to see what they're doing on their iPad. This is why yesterday, I was conversing with this individual and I was like, I got to listen to myself, and I got down on the floor so that I was lower than him. And so then I could say, talk to me about this. And then, he was doing his thing and I started playing with something. But then I would offer every once in a while and say, do you want to do this? And then eventually, he let me into what he was playing, and then he wanted into what I was playing. So don't give up on anything that you're wanting to play with your child. There is a way to teach them how to play all the things that you want to do, but you need to make it fair for them first. So get low so that it's not an authority figure, right? And see what they're playing and how you can interact with that. could be a lot of fun for you. And it's so rewarding when you connect. It is so rewarding when you connect, and you get to see, when you see how somebody else likes to play, you get to see who they are. And for some, don't be afraid if your child is 14 and you're like, no, you can connect with a 14-year-old. In some ways, it's easier than connecting with a 3-year-old, right? But don't be afraid to let go of what you think you know about play and be like, well, every other kid that I've ever seen likes this. Well, that's great. But if your child doesn't, it means nothing. So connect with your kids and find the way to play together. Don't be afraid to be silly. Don't be afraid to praise them. I think that was the most fun thing yesterday, was that we got to see that when this individual got praise, he lit up like a Christmas tree. And I always love to see that, because you see, they're like, oh, you liked that? Wait till I do this. Really, really fun. That connection is the most powerful thing in the world. So see if you can find that connection with your kiddo, or a kiddo that you love, or an adult that you love. It's the powerful, powerful thing. And don't give up. We don't ever give up. That's just not in our vocabulary. So much love to all of you. You are so going to want to tune in tomorrow to watch Rachel Bird and I. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things, because it's let's talk all the things, right? But we are going to be making gingerbread houses. I guarantee you mine is not going to look as good as hers. Hers will be the perfect one, and mine will be the fail that has, the roof caving in. But she has a trick for you about how we can do gingerbread houses with anyone and make it fun and not frustrating. So you're not going to want to miss this. I can't wait. But we'll talk about other things as well. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. And if you're in LA area, you got to sign up for those tickets for Sensitive Santa. Go to Eventbrite, Sensitive Santa Event 2022. There are only a few left, so get them now. All right, much love. Till then, bye-bye for now. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much. See you next time.